Let's hear from the Labour leader of the City of York Council, James Alexander. James, good morning.
Good morning and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. How has the city centre fared then over the Christmas period?
Well, early indications show that the footfall is up 6%, and that's from the beginning to the 18th of December. That's based on last year. Last year, obviously, there was quite bad weather. So if you compare it to the 2009 figures, it's still up about 20%, which is still very good.
That's footfall, which sounds good. But are they spending money?
Well, they are spending money, and Christmas is the time December's the time when retailers make most of their sales. However, people are being more careful with their money because of the economy, and it's up to retailers to be able to entice that footfall into their stores.
And are they spending then because of the bargains that were offered? Because a lot of the retailers were slashing prices, weren't they, kind of end of November when rents were due and so on, and rates?
So some will be, and some will be simply coming to York because it's a fantastic city. They want to come here. This has been voted again and again, one of the best Christmas destinations for shopping in the country, and people will want to come here.
And how does the general footfall and buoyancy of the city centre compare to some of these out-of-town shopping centres?
Well, I haven't got the figures for out-of-town, but if you look at the footfall for January up to about November, there's been about 18.8 million people come into York City Centre for 2010, which is fantastic and hugely positive. And as I said, December is showing that it's up in the city centre.
So what plans do you have as the ruling party to help the shoppers? We heard before Christmas, whether it was free car parking, lower rates. What are the ways of making sure that these retailers survive?
Well, the rates are set by the government, so we can't get involved in that. We just have to collect the funds for it, and actually we give more money down to Whitehall than we get back from the collection of those rates from businesses. However, there is a series of things that we are doing. One is today, retailers asked for free car parking in the city centre, so all City of York Council car parks will be free, and also we're paying for park and ride services to come and bring people into the town centre to give the retailers a post-Christmas boost. But also we've committed to a significant investment in the city centre to improve the public realm, make it more attractive. We're looking at city centre Wi-Fi. We've put Wi-Fi into St Helens Square and Coney Street. We're looking at payment on exit car parking, so people don't have to be worried about getting back to their cars. And we're looking at a whole series of schemes, including festivals, that attract more and more people into the city centre.
So just to confirm then, car parking is free today then, is it, in the City of York? This is the council
free.
Car parks?
All council car parks are free today.
And park and ride is running as well?
Yes, they are running today. They are free, and also they are dropping people off. They're stopping at each bus stop, so people can get on and off whenever they want to.
Okay. I'm trying to would you normally have charged on a Boxing Day, though? Because it is a bank holiday, isn't it?
Yes. Normally on Boxing Day it is one of the most profitable times for the council for those car parks and those services, but we're listening to retailers. This is a request they put in. We found the money through the industrial action that took place, the savings that were there, and we realised that we could actually help retailers in the city centre with this post-Christmas boost.
So can I clarify that? So the savings from so November the 30th,
yeah,
people going on strike,
yeah, you
didn't have to pay them because they withdrew their labour.
Correct.
That money is going to fund for us to have free car parking?
Yes. Not all of it, about 10% of it. The rest are all going to frontline services.
So how much then would you have netted from this today?
£10,000 in car parking, and I'm not sure how much we would have netted off from the park and ride, but that's costing us about another £10,000 today as well.
Wow. I'm amazed, because I've always wondered about the economy of how much these car parks make,
Well, this is one of the difficulties, because a lot of retailers will say we want lower car parking charges, even though, as Karen said earlier, that some people have difficulty finding a car parking space, so it shows that people are using it. But because we're having reductions in funding from the government, it's so difficult to be able to reduce car parking charges, because we're looking at a very, very difficult budget period. We're saying a 2-year budget over the next 2 years, which has to find £22 million worth of savings. And clearly, any reduction in our fees and charges means more cuts somewhere else, and that is incredibly difficult in this climate.
And I will say, in fairness, I know you're obviously attacking central government on this. Everybody, I suppose, we're all facing those cuts at the moment. Whether whether it's your household, whether it's a local business, or you as a council, we're all in those dire economic times. So is this going to be obviously you've made hay a bit out of the strike to be able to do this today. Have you now set your stall? Are you going to have to do this next year? Because you might not get a strike. Well, you probably might get a strike next year, but you can't bank on that to provide you with the money.
Well, retailers asked this for a one-off. They said because of it was on a Monday, because a lot of shops were opening, although not all of them. Clearly, other stores are opening now because others are, and because there will be the footfall. I think Browns are opening for the first time in years on a Boxing Day. But we have to see what we can do next year throughout the budget process. But the key criteria now for the budget and car parking is to bring in payment on exit car parking. Retailers are saying to me they want to have a system whereby people can pay for their parking as they leave the car parks, and therefore shoppers are not afraid of having to rush back to the car park. They can stay in the city centre for longer.
Okay. Well, very quick question I wanted to ask you as well was about the impact of Monk's Cross, of course, and the community stadium. Are you worried about the expansion of Monk's Cross? How is that going to impact on city centre traders? Is a final thought?
Well, I think people want a choice. If you speak to many shoppers today, people will say that they want to have a choice of where they shop and who they shop with. Clearly, it's a controversial development. However, it will create jobs, it will create choice and growth. And some people who are saying they're against the John Lewis at the Monk's Cross development are now saying they're pro having that in the city centre. I think that would even have a larger effect on city centre retailers. And I don't think city centre retailers are completely being up to scratch with the public with this, because clearly some retailers, including Adam Sinclair, who runs Mulberry Hall, has been leading a campaign against the Monk's Cross development, also profits from out-of-town shopping. Some of these retailers have outlets at these places. He owns China, which is at the York Designer outlet. And so in which case, if out-of-town shopping is so bad, why are retailers also opening up stores there?
Well, I'm sure obviously they have to look at it store by store, regardless of whether the store is local or wherever. But each store has to stand on its own 2 feet, I guess. James, thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome, and have a good New Year.
Yep, you too, and I hope it's a prosperous one for all of the traders in York and indeed all the other towns and our other city centre in Ripon, of course, as well in North Yorkshire, that all the retailers fare well. If you've got comments on that you want to make, I mean, I'm amazed at how the car parking is being funded by the strike action. So, you know, if depending on, we had plenty of views about the strike action on the big conversation with Jonathan back on the 30th and the build-up and the aftermath. But the fact that people went on strike meant that the salaries weren't paid. Here's the payback from that. You're getting free car parking in the centre of York today, which